In this video, we will look into the jurisprudence and administration of justice. So firstly, we will discuss about meaning, definition, nature, and scope of jurisprudence. Meaning, definition, nature, and scope of jurisprudence. Okay. So firstly, the meaning of jurisprudence. So the term jurisprudence is derived from a Latin word called jurisprudentia. So let's say jurisprudentia. Is from the Latin word jurisprudentia. So juris means law and prudentia means knowledge or skill. So jurisprudence means knowledge of law or skill in law. So it is said that jurisprudence is the eye of the law and it is knowledge of fundamental principles. So thus jurisprudence is the study of fundamental legal principles. In France, jurisprudence is known as philosophy of rights. So it's like in France, we call it philosophy of rights. So coming to the definition of jurisprudence. So it is very difficult to formulate a uniform definition of jurisprudence. Each jurist has his own notion about jurisprudence and defined the term jurisprudence based upon their ideology and nature of society. So there are several people who defined the jurisprudence. They are Solomon defined it as the science of law. And Austin defined it as the science of positive law. And Buckland defined this as the analysis of legal concepts. And Holland defines it as the formal science of positive law. Alpen defines it as the science of the just and the unjust. Brighton defines it as the study of general notion of law itself. And Cicero defines it as the philosophical aspect of the knowledge of law. And Ireland defines it as the scientific synthesis of the essential principles of law. And Keaton defines it as the study and systematic arrangement of principles of law. So, the object of study of jurisprudence is that we have seen jurisprudence, we have seen the definition, we have seen the meaning, and we have seen the definition of jurisprudence. And we have to now see the object of study of jurisprudence. So, the object of study of jurisprudence is to study the theory of law and its fundamental principles and concepts. So, it provides clear understanding about the nature of law and basic functions of law, the relationship between law and justice, law and morals, etc. So, the next thing we need to look at is importance of jurisprudence. Why is it important? So, jurisprudence is a science of civil law. So, it's a systematic study of the existing rules. So, it is also called the philosophy of law. So, jurisprudence provides theoretical foundation on the principles of law. So, it provides clear conception about the legal philosophy and enables us to discover legal fallacies. So, it teaches the lawyers, law students, judges, jurists, and legislators to think legally and make them efficient in their activities. So, it provides universal knowledge of law and common terminology. The clear understanding of the nature of law, its concepts and distinctions makes a lawyer to find out the actual rules of law. So, according to J.C. Phillimore, the study of jurisprudence makes the students into civil life with full of luminous precepts and notions applicable to every exigency of human affairs. So, according to Solomon, jurisprudence is the science of law. So, it is a science as distinguished from arts and connotes in its wide sense all those subjects which directly or indirectly treat of the science of law. So, it is a study not of the law of a particular country, but of the general notion of law itself. And the next thing that we may want to look at is the nature of jurisprudence. So, jurisprudence is the eye of the law and it is the grammar of law. So jurisprudence regarded as philosophy of law dealing with the nature and functions of law. So it contains the general principles upon which actual rules of law are based on. So as per John Austin's view, the matter of jurisprudence is positive law set by political superiors to political inferiors. So next thing we need to look at is the scope and value of jurisprudence. So it is opined that jurisprudence has no practical value or utility. Solomon does not agree with this view. So by understanding the nature of law, its concepts and distinctions, a lawyer can find out the actual rules of law. So thus the value of jurisprudence can be summarized as the philosophy of law is the basis for legal rules. Study of jurisprudence is of great advantage in study of legal system. The knowledge of law is essential to every legislator while making law. So jurisprudence is concerned with what and how the law should be. Jurisprudence has educational value. Jurisprudence provides the rules of interpretation. Jurisprudence helps in ascertaining the true meaning of the law. So the logical analysis of legal concepts sharpens lawyers' logical technique. It provides an opportunity for lawyer to bring theory and life into focus. It analyzes, clarifies, clears overlapping of legal rules. So it provides interdisciplinary approach in the social context. It provides new solutions to new problems with its new interpretations. And let's look at relation of jurisprudence with other social sciences. So jurisprudence is a part of social sciences. So man, a social being, arranges his acts suitable to the rules of conduct. So the law regulates human conduct and enforced by political authority through the enforcement of laws. Jurisprudence as a social science addresses itself to those who study law as a system of knowledge. So it treats the activity of man in society from the point of view of its legal significance. According to Julius Stone, jurisprudence is the lawyer's extraversion. It is lawyers' examination of the precepts, ideals, and techniques of the law in the light derived from the present knowledge in disciplines other than law. So, according to Roscoe Pound, jurisprudence, ethics, economics, politics, and sociology are distinct enough at the core, but shade out into each other. So, all the social sciences must be co workers, and emphatically, all must be co workers with jurisprudence. So, thus, different branches of knowledge are so interrelated that none of them can be studied in isolation. So, all social sciences stand in close connection with one another. So, all of them related to the actions of human beings living in society through different angles and with different ends. Patton observed that the modern jurisprudence trenches on the fields of social sciences and philosophy. So it insights into the historical past and attempts to create the symmetry of a garden out of the luxuriant chaos of conflicting legal systems. So let's look into jurisprudence and sociology, relation between this. So, jurisprudence is the knowledge of law, and sociology is the study of human social relationships and institutions. The purpose of studying sociology is to understand human actions and consciousness surrounding cultural and social structures. Law is one of the branches of sociology. So, law regulates human conduct and behavior. Lawyers are interested in lawmaking, arguments, interpretation, and execution of the provisions of law. Thus, sociology has intimate connection with the jurisprudence. Jurisprudence and ethics. So, jurisprudence is the knowledge of law, and ethics is a system of moral principles and a branch of philosophy which defines what is good for individuals and society. So, according to Satna, ethics depends on law of enforcement of some of its rules through the instrumentality of the law court, the police, and decrees of courts and the punishments. So, good legislation must be based on ethical or moral principles. Just as there are values in ethics, there should be a complete recognition of values in law also. Thus, ethical jurisprudence is a branch of legal philosophy which approaches the law from the viewpoint of its ethical significance and adequacy. So, thus, ethics has intimate connection with the jurisprudence. Next, we look into the relation between jurisprudence and psychology. Jurisprudence is the knowledge of law, and psychology is the study of mind and behavior. Psychology plays very significant role in criminal jurisprudence because mens rea is a mental element. So both the good or bad intentions generated from the mind of a person. So it treats man's mental state and processes emotions, thoughts, and sensations. Jurisprudence is concerned with man's external conduct, not with his thoughts and mental processes. Thus, psychology helps the investigating agencies to understand the criminal mind of the accused behind the crime. Similarly, psychology helps the lawmakers to make suitable legislations and the types of punishments and pardons to the convict. So many legal concepts such as negligence, motive, mens rea, intention has direct nexus with psychology. So the psychology has intimate connection with the jurisprudence. And let's discuss the relation between jurisprudence and history. So jurisprudence is the knowledge of law, and history is the study of the past and its relation with the human beings. The history of the past legislations becomes the basis for the present and future legislations. Historical perspectives of the past laws give new insights and make the current legislations more appropriate and effective. So there is a great chance to rectify the errors committed in the past while making law. History furnishes the background in which a correct idea of jurisprudence can be realized. Thus, history is intimately connected with the jurisprudence. And let's look into the relation between jurisprudence and politics. So, jurisprudence is the knowledge of law, and politics is the system of the principles governing the state and the governmental organizations. So, these organizations make laws and they lay down authoritatively what men may do and what men may not do. So, Such laws are formulated, administered and enforced by the government against its people. So, jurisprudence is a subdivision of political science, as it is the state that creates and maintains the conditions of law, but it is now treated as a separate study because of the vastness of its scope and its specialized study of law. So, a lawyer's approach is normative, whereas the approach of a student of political science is both normative and descriptive. So, thus, politics is intimately connected with the jurisprudence. Jurisprudence and economics. Jurisprudence is the knowledge of law, and economics is the system of the factors that determine the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. Many a times, the economic factors become the basis for the commission of general and economic crimes. The legislators make suitable laws to tackle the problems arising out of economics. Both jurisprudence and economics aim at the better living of human beings. The economic, industrial, and welfare legislations control the economics of labor and workers. Thus, economics is intimately connected with the jurisprudence. So, overall, this is about the meaning, definition, and thoughts about jurisprudence. And let's summarize these points in simple terms. So, points to remember here is jurisprudence means knowledge of law or skill in law. And jurisprudence is the study of fundamental legal principles. And according jurisprudence is a science of civil law. According to Solomon, jurisprudence is the science of law. The philosophy of law is the basis for legal rules. And jurisprudence is a part of social sciences. Jurisprudence is the lawyer's extraversion, says Julius Stone. Law is one of the branches of sociology. Good legislation must be based on ethical or moral principles. Jurisprudence is concerned with man's external conduct. Jurisprudence is a subdivision of political science. These are the important points to remember about the meaning, definition, nature, and scope of jurisprudence. So that's about your introduction. So let's look into the normative systems in the next video.